Chapter 9. I dreamed of Papa. He was standing in the middle of the wheat field before harvest, brushing his hands over the feathery tops just like he always did. "Isn't she beautiful, Jack? Just like gold." As Papa brushed his hands over the wheat, a breeze rushed through the wheat, glimmered gold in the sun. Not just golden, but gold. The wheat had turned to real gold. We were rich! And then boom, boom, boom. The sky tore open. "Papa!" I shouted. A huge hand reached down and snatched Papa. "Take care of your mama and sister, Jack." "Mama, the giants are coming!" I shouted. Wake up, came a warbly voice. "It's a beautiful day for milking, a lovely day for making cheese." Martha popped the top off the sugar bowl, and I was blinded by the light. She tipped the bowl, and Tom and I rolled out into her hand. "Good morning, children. Did you sleep well? Are you hungry? Eat up, eat up." Martha set us down on the table and gave us hot porridge with cream. Tom ate his porridge out of a thimble, and I slurped mine out of an empty acorn. It was early morning, and just the first rays of sun trickling through the windows, but bright enough that I could see the whole giant kitchen now. It was an enormous, noisy, bustling place. There were giant maids stirring pots of porridge and kneading dough and washing dishes and scrubbing the floor and stoking fires. In the giant fireplace was a big black kettle, and in the blazing ovens on either side were loaves of bread, or hills of bread, more like. 4 giant tables stretched across the kitchen in 2 rows. Some were being used to prepare food, and another was covered with food, but not giant food, food from my world, and more than I had ever seen at once. Cabbages, apples, pears, giant buckets of peas, carrots, beets, and radishes. And then there were all manner of farm animals, cows and sheep and pigs. Above the table were 3 shelves. They seemed to hold giant birdhouses, except the birdhouses were real houses from below. Log cabins, brick houses, and, oh my, there were people my size on the shelf. I saw a woman sweeping dirt out of her door, another hanging laundry to dry. I couldn't believe I didn't notice any of this yesterday. But one doesn't expect to find cows in a kitchen or an entire village sitting on a shelf. "Good morning, my elves," Martha sang cheerfully. "It's a lovely day, isn't it? And so much work to do. Dear me, I could never do it without you sweet elves." Martha delivered 2 hands full of people to the animal table and more loads to the food table, calling each of them by name. I strained to hear her say Henry, but without any luck. "There you are," said Martha. "It's time for the milking." She scooped me in one hand and Tom in the other. Martha carried us to a barn with peeling red paint. It sat on the end of the table full of animals. At least she was taking me where I needed to go. She unlatched the door with her giant fingers, and a whole herd of cows streamed out. "Now be good boys and milk the cows," said Martha. "And Tom, dear, do try not to squirt the milk at Harold or the chickens." "Come on," said Tom. "Let's do the milking and we can duel." "But my papa," I reminded him. "I'll be back." I left the barn and ran down the center of the table, came to a barn made out of books. "Excuse me, sir," I said to the man. He looked down from his book on the ceiling, but continued to milk the cow. "I'm looking for my papa. His name is Henry, and giants took him with their newborn calf. Have you seen him?" "There's a newcomer in the bread bin barn," said the man. I raced down the table and found the bread bin. There was a man inside, but it wasn't Papa. I squinted. "Horace?" He grew a beard, but I recognized him and his pig Cindy. "Is my Papa here?" I asked. "Haven't seen him, but I don't see much beyond this bread bin." "Thank you." I left Horace and walked slowly back to the barn. "Come on," said Tom. Across from where we sat, Martha and the rest of the kitchen servants were busy preparing the royal breakfast. Firstly, the tray and all the dishes were made of pure gold, right down to the sugar spoon, and 50 slabs of bacon and a mountain of fruit. Finally, Martha unlocked a cupboard and brought out a glass bowl filled with gold flakes. She sprinkled the gold all over the food. "And can you guess what his name is?" said Tom. "King Barf!" He burst out laughing. Martha cleared her throat. His Royal Majesty's name is King Bartholomew Archibald Reginald Fife, Tom dear, and you had better watch your tongue. Ding! A bell rang. Oh my, and now the king demands his breakfast. Heads up, said Tom. He squirted some milk right in my eye. Bullseye! Abandoning his cow altogether, Tom picked up a giant fork. Let's joust like knights, he said, raising the fork up. Charge! I put down the fork lance, and sunlight had moved above the windows now, which meant it was probably close to midday. I needed to find Papa, and finding the king was my best chance. Tom, is there a way to get to the other table? The one where Martha is? Sure, we need a spoon. A spoon? Tom disappeared and brought one back. Stand on the end there. And 1, 2, 3. Ah! Snakes and toads! I soared over the table, arms and legs flailing, and landed on top of a mountain of potatoes. I tumbled down the potato. Tom swung across the kitchen to join me on a rope tied to one of the chandeliers. Tom found another spoon and was dragging it to a place beneath a block of cheese. Come on, it's my turn. You can jump from the cheese. Okay. And off Tom was on the end of the spoon, and whee! Shouted with glee. Ding! The bell rang. Lunch! Martha sang. The kitchen broke into chaos again. A maid swept right under my path and caught her arm in the rope, and I swung across the table. Don't forget the king's pudding! Martha picked up the dish. Wait! I shouted. Splat! Right into the pudding. Martha, I'm here. It's me, Jack. I mean, Tim. I'm in the pudding. She quickly passed the dish off to a servant, and I was whisked away. I tried to get out of the pudding, but it was like swimming through thick, gooey mud. The servant walked down the dimly lit corridors, turned a corner, and there was no mistaking it. I was dropped in front of a pudgy and pink face with dark beady eyes, an upturned nose, someone dressed entirely in gold, gold robes, gold chains, gold rings, and 2 gold crowns. This was the giant king, King Barf, and I was his lunch.